Maria was walking slowly along the narrow path, looking intently at the trees. The afternoon breeze rustled gently through the trees, carrying the scent of fresh leaves. She looked at the sky, where soft clouds drifted lazily across the blue expanse. A smile slowly forming, then gazed on the ground, and something caught her attention. It was a nest, its twigs scattered slightly from the fall. She knelt. Inside were eggs, so exposed. "Oh no," she whispered, her voice trembling with concern. "How will I put this back on the tree branch?" She gazed upward, searching for the branch it might have fallen from, then back at the fragile nest in her hands. "The poor mother," she murmured. "She'll be so devastated if she does not find the nest." Maria carefully examined the nearby branches, and none was suitable. Then her eyes settled on a low branch with a few broken twigs hanging loosely. "That must be the spot," she thought. She lifted the nest gently, tiptoed, but could not reach the right spot. Just as she was looking around for something she could step on, John appeared. "What are you doing, Maria?" asked John. "Is that you, John?" "Thank thee, Jesus. Finally help has come," she exclaimed. "John, please help me out here," she implored. "What is it?" asked John. Maria hesitated for a moment, unsure if he would understand, and then explained everything. John stared at her, then suddenly burst into laughter. Maria frowned. "What is it, John? Why are you laughing?" "You amuse me," John said between chuckles. "Instead of bothering yourself with substantial matters, you waste your time with this nonsense. A bird's nest." Maria was disappointed. "You call this nothing?" she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "It's not nonsense. John, please." But before she could finish, John waved his hand dismissively. "Let me show you what one does with this trash," he said, stepping forward toward the fragile nest. Maria's eyes widened in disbelief. "John, no, please don't. Stop. Don't destroy," Maria implored. She tried to take the nest from him. Tiny fragments of dried grass and trees crumpled between his fingers and placed the remainder of the nest down. Maria held the nest protectively and asked John to leave. A few of the eggs had rolled but were still intact, tears welling, and John was staring at her in amusement. John stared at her for a moment, the laughter fading from his face. "You're too sentimental, Maria," he said softly, though not so confident. "The world isn't as kind as you think." Maria looked up at him, her eyes glittering. "Then maybe that's why it's falling apart," she replied quietly. John was silent and turned away, suddenly uncomfortable, while Maria desperately looked around for anything she could step on. She managed to step on a stone and place the nest securely on one of the branches. A prayer convention was fast approaching, and Maria was excited about it. She was looking forward to it, counting down the days with eager anticipation. Things were tough on her, and she longed for the spiritual renewal and graces. Maria had always been dependable, the kind of person everyone would count on. Whether it was setting up chairs, organizing prayer schedules, welcoming newcomers warmly, she was always there, available at a moment's notice. Her quiet dedication inspired others. She never sought attention, yet her presence brought calm and order wherever she went. "Maria, we need this flower vase refilled with water," said Jane, pointing toward the wilting bouquet on the table. "I'll certainly do it," replied Maria with a gentle smile as she took the vase carefully into her hands. The flowers outside not look good either," Jane continued, glancing through the window. "Will you do it?" "Yes, Jane, don't worry," Maria reassured her. "I'll attend to them right after this." Jane crossed her arms, scanning the room with a sigh. "And the floor looks messy. The compound too. It's littered. Will you sweep and ensure you burn the trash?" Jane added. Maria looked up, slightly weary but still calm. How easy it was for others to give orders, she thought. Yet she couldn't say no. There was something in her, a quiet sense of duty, or perhaps fear of disappointing others. She prayed silently, not to succumb to pressure, but soldier on and carry her cross well. Jane, I'll do it, she said firmly, setting the vase down after refilling it. Jane nodded approvingly. Though her tone was commanding, Maria, however, didn't mind. She found quiet satisfaction in keeping things in order. Even when the task seemed endless, she thought of St. Joseph Cupertino, who cheerfully attended to any task given. She was determined to die to self and allow God's will prevail. Maria had always been the quiet one, the kind who rarely spoke unless spoken to. From a young age, she had learned that peace often came through silence. When others raised their voices, she lowered hers. When tempers flared, she steadied her tone. It wasn't weakness. That's how she survived, how she kept the storms around her from breaking her spirit. Life had not been gentle with her. She had endured pain of losing her loved ones, dreams, time that could not come back. But she was not bitter because she knew God was aware when it all happened and would restore everything that was lost. So, when Jane's voice rose with endless tasks, Maria did not rebel. She saw in every chore an opportunity to offer it to God as an atonement for her sins, for the whole world, and the holy souls in purgatory. Though sometimes when alone, she felt the weight of it all. There were days she longed for someone to simply notice her, to say thank you, to realize that her gentleness was strength, not weakness. Despite all, she surrendered all to God and resigned to prayer. So when overwhelmed while taking her tasks, she prayed silently. Dearest Jesus, grant me the grace to serve with love, not resentment. Meanwhile, Nafula and Jambi were eavesdropping from behind the half-closed door. Their curious eyes peeking through the narrow opening had everything. How stupid is Maria? Nafula whispered, sneering. Why does she accept everything? She always agrees to everything, like some kind of a saint. Jambi stifled a laugh, leaning closer to her friend. Honestly, it's like she enjoys being ordered around. Who does that? Come on, Nafula said. Let's hide, lest Jane spots us. I'm not ready to be dragged into more chores today. Jambi straightened her back and crossed her arms defiantly. Hide? Not me. She can't compel me to do anything. She's just a leader, not a queen. Don't they say that leaders are servants? Servant leadership. That's what they call it. They heartily laughed, the kind that echoed down the hallway. Careless, mocking, and full of self-satisfaction, and aware that their laughter would soon reach the very ears they had mocked. Exactly, Nafula added, lowering her voice but still brimming with scorn. Since she's the leader, then let her lead from the front. Let's see her sweep, clean, and carry water like she tells others to do. The following morning, Jane sat at the veranda sipping her tea absent-mindedly. The air was crisp and the compound was unusually calm. She glanced around and noticed the flowers, fresh and vibrant. The vase in the sitting room gleamed with clean water. Even the ground was spotless, and a faint smell of burnt leaves lingered in the air. It was peaceful. Jane placed her cup slowly on the stool. For the first time, realized she hadn't seen Maria rest the previous day. From morning till dusk, she had moved quietly from task to task without complaining, hesitating but always gentle. She felt guilty. Giving orders was normal for her. She looked around and spotted Maria watering the seedbed. Jane was overwhelmed with remorse and approached Maria. Maria, Jane called softly. Maria turned startled. Yes, Jane? Jane hesitated, then stammered. I would like to thank you for everything. You're hardworking and I've never acknowledged you. Maria blinked, surprised. Oh, that's all right, Jane. I'm just doing what needs to be done. No, Maria, said Jane. You do much more, preaching the gospel in action. Maria was overwhelmed with emotion and offered all the glory to God. She was aware that it is only God that gives her strength. Thank you, she whispered. Maria continued working, one task after another humming softly. She clearly enjoyed her work. She didn't grumble or complain. At her quiet moments, she loved meditating on the crucified Lord, how Jesus selflessly gave his life for our sake, and she strived to emulate him. She felt these reassuring words. He who wants to follow me must not be anxious about his life or afraid for it. Learn to defy the world with its criticism, its snares, its mockery, its torments, in order to conquer my kingdom. Meanwhile, Nafula and Jambi were tired of absolutely doing nothing. They wasted their time strolling around the compound, plucking leaves from the hedges, chatting on a clearly bored. The long hours of idleness had become unbearable. The laughter that had once filled their lazy afternoons had faded, replaced by an unspoken heaviness. I feel empty, exclaimed Nafula, breaking the silence. Jambi turned to her startled. Why do you say that? Nafula sighed deeply, gazing into the distance where Maria was sweeping. I can't explain, she replied slowly, but I clearly know there's something missing. Tell me, Jambi, how can you explain this? Look at Maria. She's humble, obedient, and always ready to serve and never complains. She's not disturbed by anything, but always calm and serene. And here I am, wasting my time dodging work, complaining, gossiping, and disrespecting others. I'm not happy, Jambi, not at all, and I'd like to change. Jambi rolled her eyes and gave a short laugh. Then go join her if you want, she said dismissively. You can be a little helper if that's what will make you happy. Nafula remained silent for a while after Jambi's sharp remark. She watched Maria from afar. How gently she moved, her face calm even under the hot afternoon sun. There was a certain grace in her gestures, an unspoken joy that seemed to spring from within. Nafula couldn't understand it, but she admired it deeply. I wish I could be like that, she whispered, more to herself than to Jambi. Jambi, now laying lazily on the grass, shrugged. You think too much, Nafula. Just enjoy life. Why bother with all that humility nonsense? People like Maria get used by everyone. She's too soft. Maria didn't respond. She gazed at Maria, who had now stopped to help an old woman carry a basket of vegetables. There was no trace of pride or hesitation in her, just pure willing service. Later that day, when the sun had begun to sink behind the hills, Nafula found herself walking toward the small chapel at the corner of the compound. She didn't know why. The place was quiet, with a faint scent of incense still lingering in the air. She knelt awkwardly at the back pew and clasped her hands. God, she whispered, I don't know what's happening to me. I've wasted so much time. I've mocked, gossiped, disrespected, and I'm not happy. I would like what Maria has. That peace, that calm. Please help me. The next morning, when she saw Maria watering the flowers, Nafula first hesitated, then walked towards her. Maria, she said softly. Maria turned, surprised but smiling. Good morning, Nafula. Nafula lowered her eyes, embarrassed. I would like to help you today if you let me. Maria's face lit up. Of course, there's always room to help. Come, we'll start with the flowers. From a distance, Jambi watched them, Maria and Nafula working together. She squinted, disbelief written all over her face. Nafula was now sweeping and humming softly. What's wrong with her now? Jambi muttered. Has she completely lost it? As the morning went on, Jambi kept stealing glances. She expected Nafula to give up, complain or argue with Maria as she often did with others. But instead, she seemed content. She even smiled when Maria spoke. Occasionally, they laughed quietly together, and Maria's gentle tone seemed to bring out something in Nafula. By midday, curiosity got the better of Jambi. She walked over, pretending to stretch her legs. So, Nafula, she said mockingly, you've joined the holy team. How's life as Maria's assistant? Nafula paused, wiping sweat from her forehead. Instead of retorting as she normally would, she smiled faintly. It's not easy, she admitted, but it feels good, peaceful. Jambi coughed. Peaceful? You're just tearing yourself out. You'll see. After a few days, you'll be bored again. Maria looked up and said kindly, "Peace comes not when everything around is calm, but when the heart learns to rest in God's will. It comes when love abides, where the heart is meek and pure." Jambi rolled her eyes. "Maybe for you," she said sharply. "Not everyone wants to be a saint." Maria didn't reply. She simply smiled and continued her work. Nafula lowered her head and felt sorry for her newfound friend. That night, while lying in bed, Jambi tossed and turned. The image of Maria's calm face and Nafula's newfound joy wouldn't leave her mind. She began to wonder if she was missing something. The following morning, Jambi woke earlier than usual. The compound was still quiet, the dew glistening on the grass. She sat by her window, staring outside. Maria and Nafula already at work, watering, sweeping, and arranging. Their quiet conversation floated faintly through the air, mingling with the chirping birds in the air. Jambi rolled her eyes. "What's happening to me?" she murmured. "Why do you even care what you're doing?" She tried pushing away the restlessness, but it persisted. Later that day, while walking past the kitchen, she overheard Maria speaking softly to Nafula. "You see, Nafula, when you do small things with love, they're an offering to God." Jambi stopped and wondered. "An offering?" she thought. "How can sweeping be an offering?" That evening, when everyone had completed their chores, she lingered near the chapel. The door was slightly opened. She hesitated, then stepped in and walked slowly toward the front and sat down. "Oh God," she whispered awkwardly at first. "I don't even know how to pray. But I now understand what Nafula meant. I feel empty too. Everyone thinks that I'm strong, that I do not care. They don't know my struggles. I don't know how to begin. I don't know how to change. Please help me." The next morning, Maria and Nafula were outside again, trimming the bushes. Jambi approached quietly, then stood there awkwardly for a moment. Do you need help?" she asked, her voice hesitant. Maria looked up, smiling as though she had been expecting her all along. "Yes, Jambi, you'd love your help. Here, take this pair of shears." Nafula's eyes widened slightly, but said nothing, only smiled in quiet gratitude. As they continued working, Jambi joined Maria and Nafula in harmony, and this surprised her too. Maria was so grateful to God for using her as an instrument of transforming Jambi and Nafula. She thanked him profusely, glorified and praised him joyfully. Maria continued contemplating. These words penetrated her. "I conquered heaven for you through my heroism. You must imitate me. Heroism is not laid aside exclusively for those who are to suffer martyrdom. Christian life is perpetual heroism because it's a perpetual struggle against the world, the demon, and the flesh. I do not compel you to follow me. I leave you free. But I don't want you to be hypocrites, either with me and like me or against me. You cannot deceive me. No, I cannot be deceived. And I don't form alliances with the enemy. You prefer him to me. You cannot think that you can have me as your friend. At the same time, either him or me. Make your choice." "Oh, Jesus," Maria implored. "I choose thee and I love thee. Please perfect my love." Maria continued doing the best she could, striving each day to live righteously, her beautiful smile never fading. Even when faced with challenges, she knew that every cross carried with courage was meritorious. A few months later, her health began to decline. What started as a minor discomfort grew into excruciating pain. After several medical tests, the doctors confirmed that it was cancer of the stomach. The news baffled her, but soon took all in. She endured it all and did not complain, offering the diagnosis and pain to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, united to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, for the atonement of her sins and the whole world. She was admitted in the hospital and offered all to God, whispering, "Sacred Heart of Jesus, I trust in thee. Immaculate Heart of Mary, pray for me." Though the pain was excruciating, she didn't complain. Those who visited her were deeply moved. always found her clutching her rosary, praying despite the pain. Sometimes she could gaze at the crucifix affixed on the wall and smile gently to her beloved. Let this pain, she prayed one night, be for the atonement of my sins and for the conversion of all unrepentant sinners. Nafula visited her in hospital one quiet afternoon. The room smelled faintly of antiseptic and wilted flowers. The curtains were half drawn, letting in a gentle beam of light that rested on Maria's frail figure. She looked smaller than Nafula remembered, her face pale, her body weak but peaceful. Nafula stood by the bedside for a moment, uncertain whether to speak or cry. Maria turned her head slowly, her lips trembling into a faint smile. Nafula, she whispered, her voice barely audible. Nafula leaned closer, straining to hear. Don't worry, Maria said softly, pausing to catch her breath. This suffering is just for a while. Just for a while? Nafula thought, her eyes welling up. She's wasted and on her deathbed. She didn't understand. She didn't seem like she'll recover. So how can the suffering be for a while? Maria closed her eyes, her expression calm, almost radiant, as if glimpsing into a light no one else could see. Nafula sat beside her, holding her hand, silent and confused. The rhythmic beeping of the monitor filled the silence, each sound reminding her how every heartbeat was precious. Maria, she whispered, don't speak anymore, just rest. But Maria opened her eyes slowly and looked at her friend with so much love. Nafula, she murmured, offer everything to the Sacred Heart of Jesus, united to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, for the atonement of our sins and for the whole world, and also for the holy souls in purgatory. Her voice grew weaker, yet her words were bold. Tell them to love, to forgive, to pray much. Also remember to pray for myself during the prayer convention. Dearest Jesus, have mercy on me, a sinner. If it's thy holy will, please admit me to heaven, where there's no suffering but joy. Nafula nodded. Tears streamed. She wanted to beg Maria to stop speaking, to fight for her life, but Maria seemed ready to proceed to heaven. Moments later, Maria's breathing slowed. Her lips moved faintly, whispering, Jesus, Mary, I love thee, save souls. Then her hand relaxed in Nafula's. The monitor gave one final sound and went still. Nafula sat frozen, unable to move. The stillness was heavy, yet graceful. Her death spread like wildfire. Messages of condolences began to stream in their chat group. This baffled Nafula. Maria seemed invisible, unnoticed in their midst, yet people were all acknowledging her. Everyone seemed to know her, to have been touched by her kindness. As she scrolled through the messages, Nafula was surprised. Messages of Maria helping someone find hope, another faith, another peace. Why did she do all this? And yet she was always busy working? Nafula wondered. Even while at the hospitals, visitors were uncountable, she thought. Clearly, Maria was sure of herself, and all this while I wasted my time. I wish I could have spent more time with her. They viewed her body, and Nafula's gaze was transfixed on her, asking Maria to pray for her. As days passed, the absence of Maria was deeply felt. Her gentle presence had left an imprint on many hearts. Nafula made an effort to emulate her. Days later, Nafula found herself walking alone beneath the evening sky. Maria's last words echoed in her heart. For the first time, she understood Maria didn't mean the pain would soon pass because of healing, but because this life was passing, and beyond is eternity, where there will be no suffering. Nafula began to pray more, to complain less, and to see trials as opportunities to build virtue. Nafula emulated Maria's lifestyle. She visited Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament every morning. She volunteered at the parish, cleaning the altar linens and arranging flowers. On her way home, the golden light of the setting sun gently fell on Our Lady of Guadalupe statue. Nafula thanked Mother Mary for her intercession and silently whispered, "Thank you, Maria, for showing me that suffering, united with love, becomes a blessing, and truly it's only for a while." Thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share.